All right, let's talk about machine learning. And look, forget all the complex code and the jargon for a second. At its heart, it's just a really powerful tool for your business, a way to tackle real problems by turning the data you already have into smart, actionable decisions. So let's pull back the curtain and see how it actually works, in plain English. So, I want to start with a big question. Can your data predict the future? It sounds a little like science fiction, right? But that's pretty much what we're talking about. Imagine having a business superpower, the ability to look at your information from today and get a really solid clue about what's going to happen tomorrow. That, right there, is the promise of machine learning.
But here's the thing. It's not magic. It's not some mysterious black box that only geniuses can understand. The real power is knowing that it's just a process, a structured, repeatable workflow that anyone, whether you're a business leader, an analyst, or an MBA student, can learn and use to get some pretty amazing results.
And this, right here, this is the roadmap. It's basically a four-step journey. First, you have to define your business goal. Then, you get your data ready. Third, you develop the right model for the job. And finally, you apply that model to start making smarter decisions. Simple enough, right? Let's break it down, starting at the beginning.
Okay, step one. And honestly, this might be the most important part of the entire thing. You have to start with a question. We don't begin with the tech or the algorithms. We always start by asking, what business problem are we actually trying to solve?
Let's use this super common example, one that every business on the planet faces. The big question is, how can I sell more of my product to customers? It's a great question, a fundamental one, but for a machine, it's way too broad. It doesn't know what to do with that.
So the real trick here is translation. We need to translate that big business problem into a sharp, specific machine learning problem. So let's say we're launching a new affinity card. Instead of that vague, how do I sell more, we ask, which specific customers are most likely to purchase this product? Now that is a question a machine can actually sink its teeth into.
Awesome. So once we have our question locked in, we move on to step 2, getting your data ready. And this is the absolute foundation for everything that comes next. You've all heard the saying, garbage in, garbage out, right? Well, in machine learning, that is 100% true.
Now, this is where a lot of the grunt work happens. We're talking about cleaning up messy data, typos, missing values, joining information from a bunch of different sources, and then figuring out what's actually relevant. It's maybe not the most glamorous part of the process, but believe me, it's absolutely critical. You're building a clean, reliable foundation, so your model has good fuel to run on.
Okay, our data is prepped and ready to go. Now we get to the fun part. Step 3, choosing our analytic tool. In machine learning, these tools are called models. And the best way to think about them is like a toolbox. You wouldn't use a hammer to saw a board, right? It's the exact same idea here. You need the right tool for the job. So, one of the biggest categories of tools is called supervised learning. Think of it like you're teaching a student for a test, and you give them a bunch of practice problems and the answer key. You feed the model historical data where you already know the correct outcome, and it learns to find the patterns. This is your go-to for making predictions. And on the flip side, you've got unsupervised learning. As you can probably guess, this time there's no answer key. You're basically just handing the data to the model and saying, go explore. Tell me if you find anything interesting. It's all about discovering hidden structures or natural groups in your data that you didn't even know were there. This is your tool for discovery.
Okay, let's make this super practical. This is how you match the model to the mission. If your question is about predicting a category, like a simple yes or no, will this customer buy, you use classification. If you need to predict an actual number, like what's the predicted age of this customer, that's regression. Want to find those hidden customer groups? That's clustering. And if you need to spot something weird, something out of the ordinary, like a fraudulent transaction, that's anomaly detection. See, every question has a perfect tool.
All right, we're in the home stretch. Step 4 is where we turn all of this hard work into actual decisions. We've framed our question, we've prepped the data, we've chosen our model, and now it is time for the payoff. We're going to apply our new model to get some real answers. And this process has a name. It's called scoring. And really, all it means is that we're using the model we just built to make predictions on new data it's never seen before. That's it. This is the moment we go from theory to practice.
So let's circle all the way back to our affinity card problem, remember? We built a classification model to figure out who is most likely to say yes, and now we've got a brand new list of potential customers we want to reach out to.
So what happens now? Well, we take a new customer from our list, we run their data through the model, and bam!
The model scores them and spits out a single, simple number, A1. And that's our answer. After all that analysis, we get this beautifully clear signal that says, hey, this person, they're a really good bet. Go talk to them.
And that simple one is where the business value just explodes. Because of that prediction, you're not just throwing marketing money at a wall to see what sticks. No way. You can focus your budget, your time, and your team's effort directly on the people most likely to convert. You save time, you save money, and you increase sales. That is the power of turning data into a decision.
So as we wrap this up, just remember this 4-step framework. It all starts with asking the right question. Chances are your company's data is sitting on a gold mine of answers right now, just waiting to be uncovered. So the only thing left to figure out is, what question will you ask first?